What's up, guys? My name is Tavarus, Sweet Pea Weems, coming at you with a video about Malcolm Jamal Warner. And I just wanted to give my condolences to the family, to his friends, his associates in the film industry. And I just wanted to say that me personally, Malcolm Jamal Warner was one of my heroes growing up. Watching the Cosby Show in the 80s and early 90s was an inspiration to me, my friends, everybody in my neighborhood that looked like me. We had somebody positive to look up to, somebody that inspired us as kids, and not to always continue to have the mentality that we had growing up in the environment that we grew up in. Malcolm showed us that you can be classy, you can be intelligent, you can be educated and make it look cool. He was a cool dude, man. Growing up, people might have said, oh, he's a nerd, he's this, he's that, he's square, he's corny, because he was in a middle-class neighborhood and with a middle-class family. In the neighborhoods that we came from, we didn't have those things, and we didn't look like that, we didn't dress like that. But in the back of our minds, we knew that, that's where we really should be. That's where we really should aspire to be. And he gave us the motivation and the inspiration to want to better our lives and better ourselves as little black kids growing up, in poverty-stricken environments. And it gave us hope that we can accomplish whatever we wanted to accomplish in our lives and become whatever we want to, in a fun, comical, classy way. So, I really appreciate Malcolm for being my hero, and I really appreciate his attitude. Every time I saw him, whether it was on screen, off screen, he just always seemed like a good dude, just a good person, and always brought sunshine to people's lives. From what I've researched, everybody that talked about him spoke about him in a very classy way, that he was a humble guy. They spoke about him in a respectful way, and I really appreciate that. He did his thing. He made his mark in this world. And he did his thing. So, and I'm here probably because of him, and I just want to get to the point where I can be an inspiration as well to other kids and people, and that's why I became an actor and a musician and songwriter and producer and stuntman, so I can get into this industry to change lives and not just entertain just to be doing it or get on TV just to be doing it. I want to do what Malcolm did, and that's change lives all over the world. And that brother is a legend and an icon, and he will always live in our hearts forever. I'll never forget him to the day I die. So rest in peace to Malcolm Jamal Warner. Condolences to his friends, his family, associates. I really appreciate you guys making such a wonderful guy, in Malcolm Jamal Warner, his parents, for bringing in the world such a beautiful soul and a wonderful spirit. I followed this guy since I was a kid and never seen anything in the news about him that was bad or salacious or getting caught up in some drama or some situation with the laws. It was never that, man. Always been a role model to young black boys, especially, but all kids of all colors all across the world. So thank you, Malcolm, for being that inspiration to all of us. We really appreciate you, man. Rest in peace, my brother. As far as the drowning situation in Limon, Costa Rica, in Playa Grande, from what I've researched, this is one of the worst places for rip currents in the ocean. I've been in situations where I almost drowned myself. So my personal story is, very similar to what happened to Malcolm from what I can, tell you guys from my research. I think that Malcolm went through the same situation I went through, but unfortunately he lost his life, at that beach in Playa Grande. And this is not to bash Costa Rica. Costa Rica is a beautiful place. I have friends that just went there, and man, they loved it. Everybody I know from since I was a kid told me, man, you got to go to Costa Rica. It's so green and so beautiful. The people are so nice. They treat us so well. You know, never had a problem in Costa Rica. So shout out to Costa Rica. And but they do have some dangerous beaches, so you have to be careful. Beautiful beaches in the world. But as far as the rip currents and rip tides, you definitely have to be safe as possible, because they will take your life, unfortunately. You know, everybody thinks everything is rosy when they go to these different countries and explore these beaches, and they want to take, you know, Instagram photos and reels and all that stuff while they're in the ocean, but it's nothing to play with. You know, my situation is I went to Brazil back in 2000, and I bought a surfboard because I've always been obsessed with water since I was a kid, and I'm a beast at swimming. I'm a beast. I don't know what the issue is with people saying that black people or people of color can't swim, but I don't know where they get that from. But growing up in Atlanta, Georgia, you know, and I'm from Griffin, Georgia, which is an hour south of Atlanta. And grew up in Decatur, Georgia. I was a beast. I mean, I can race anybody. I would blow people away, and I would do flips in the water. I would do backward flips into the water. I would, you know, dive in 12 feet of water, 15 feet of water, 10 feet of water. Diving the high diving board, I can dive off that, do flips off of it. The low boards, I can do the same thing, run, do backward flips into the water, dive straight for it. You know, I've had my, you know, close calls, of course, but learning as a swimmer, that's what you have to go through. You know, diving in the water in the bottom of the swimming pool, sometimes the deep water, and the way they made them back then was the bed of the swimming pool would kind of curve or L up, so to speak, you know, to go flat then to a 45-degree angle to get to the you know, the lower parts of the pool. So when you dive, you know, a lot of times I dove straight in the water, you know, so your head gets close to hitting that 45-degree angle at the bottom. So, you know, you have to learn how to curve up when you dive. So that's what they teach you in swim classes. And I was on a swim team, so I learned how to do all that stuff. So, and my friends in Atlanta would jump in the water doing like sideways spinning while they dived in, and I never learned how to do that part, but I tried a couple of times. I might have landed on my, you know, chest a couple of times, but you know, it's all good. I still learned how to do it, and now I can swim like a beast. You know, my friend was at the spa a few months back, and he tried to race me in the deepest part of the spa. They have a big, large swimming pool. So he said, man, I'm telling you, I'm the fastest swimmer in the world. I was like, all right, man, let's do it. Got in there and I dusted him. He was like, man, I didn't know you can swim like that, man. I was like, bro, I've been swimming, obsessed with water since I was a kid. You know, I'm a beast. So anyway, my point is, no matter how good you can swim, if you get into these oceans and these rip tides and rip currents take you under, it's a wrap, you know. Like I said, I went to Brazil in 2000, took my surfboard thinking it was easy because I saw it on TV because I can already swim. So I'm like, oh, this is gonna be easy. So I took my board, Copacabana Beach in Rio de Janeiro. Got to the beach one morning, you know, at the hotel. I said, I'm gonna take a quick, you know, surf in the morning time, eat some breakfast, go out there, come back. You know, it's gonna be easy. I went out there, paddled in on the top of the board, you know, with my chest on the flat. So I swam out, kept going out, hit a little bump, you know, in the water, kept going out, hit another little bump, hit a bigger bump, and then I saw this wave come up. And I was like, oh man, this is gonna be crazy. It was a wrap. That wave came crashing down on me, knocked me off the board, pushed me underwater. I hit the coral reefs under the bottom of the seabed. And if you don't know, you know, those coral reefs at the bottom are very hard and sharp. People think they got this soft plants at the bottom. No, those coral reefs, ask any surfer or swimmer that swims in the ocean all the time. If you put your feet on those things, it's like a knife. It'll slice you. It'll cut you up. So I was hitting the bottom of the ocean bed. The waves kept pushing me down. I would swim up to the top with my board, because back then, and it's still to this day, they have the strings that are attached to the board that you can wrap around your ankle so you won't lose your surfboard if you fall off or whatever. So back then in the 90s, we had late 90s, early 2000s, they had the long big boards, thick, heavy. So they would wrap those strings around your feet, and man, if those waves hit you and you have that board connected to your feet, you're gonna go down to the bottom of the ocean, upside down. So I was hitting the bottom of the ocean, my head first getting cut up into my face, my arms getting cut up, my legs getting cut, because I'm like, what in the world is going on, man? So they would hit me and I would try to swim up. So I'm losing breath, I'm losing energy, I'm starting to panic. I'm like, I'm about to die in Brazil, man. I can't believe this. I thought I was a great swimmer. This is not it, man. This is not it. So the currents would come and the waves would hit the water, and the power of that would come under. So it would kind of sweep you under, so you would roll as the waves come and hit the water, and the currents will come underwater. Those are called undercurrents. So those undercurrents will pull you in. So I'm thinking that by swimming towards the beach that I would, power through those waves, but it actually brings you out. If you actually get into a bathtub and you put a little piece of paper or a little piece of plastic on top of that water, splash it like you making a wave, and see what happens to that little piece of paper, that plastic. It's gonna actually come back in as you keep splashing, because the power of that wave will keep coming towards you and pulling you back in. So you're going deeper out in the ocean. So I'm losing energy, losing breath. I'm sweating because it's hot out there, sweating in the ocean. Can you believe that? It was so hot. So I'm thinking like, oh man, I'm dead, man. What can I do? So it hit me once again. I went to the bottom of the ocean. So I grabbed onto the string, pulled myself up, with my power, and my feet flapping at the bottom of the ocean, and pulled myself up to the surfboard, and I grabbed it with my left arm and wrapped my arm around it, because I knew that if I get hit again, at least I have the surfboard that keeps me afloat. And once that wave hit me again, I tried to get back on top of the surfboard, and once I tried to get back on, the waves would hit me again, so I could not get back on top of the surfboard. Those waves are just too strong. They're gonna overpower you. Trust me, you don't have the energy and the power to swim through those waves. It's just not happening. Those currents are too strong. And a lot of people don't know rip currents are when those sudsy parts of the water are going towards the beach in waves, and you will see it's a different color. It's like a whitish color, and they all spring back into the ocean. And that middle part that you see right in the middle of those waves is the rip current, because what the waves are trying to do is come back into the ocean with the least amount of resistance. So those currents will pull you back into the ocean, and you shouldn't be trying to swim towards the beach, because those currents are coming out. So it's useless for you to keep swimming towards the sand, because you're not stronger than the ocean. Trust me. And they say that I think the CDC estimates that 4,000 people a year die of drowning, unintentional drowning or accidental drowning every year. That's like 11 people a day that drown. 365 days a year, 11 people per day. So when you go to bed, wake up, go to work, and come back home, 11 people have drowned. If that ain't crazy, I don't know what is. And the WHO, the World Health Organization, estimates that 236,000 people die worldwide from drowning unintentionally or accidentally. And most of those drownings, a lot of, I wouldn't say most, but a lot of them are kids, and it's really sad, because I love kids, and people should be more careful with their kids, especially when going to the beach or going to swimming pools. You know, always have an eye out to watch your kids, you know, from getting into that water and drowning. We hear about it all the time. I'm sure you heard on the news about kids drowning in the backyard, you know, of somebody's house or neighbor's house or their own house. So I think what happened to Malcolm Jamal Warner is the same thing that happened to me. You know, fortunately I made it out because I had that surfboard attached to my ankle. If it wasn't for that surfboard to help me get afloat, I probably wouldn't even be talking to you guys right now. So, you know, I thank God that I made it and I'm here to share my story, and hopefully I can change some lives with this video. And that's my purpose. It's not to capitalize off Malcolm Jamal Warner's death, but to bring awareness to the dangers of swimming in oceans and in swimming pools, spas, swimming pools as well, you know, saunas or whatever. You know, any water is dangerous. You're not stronger than water as a human being. So, but what I think what happened to Malcolm Jamal Warner is the same thing. He probably went out that morning. He said he's going to take a quick swim. Maybe left his daughter in the room. I'm not sure. They said his family was with him. You know, he's probably used to it. He's probably been to Costa Rica many a times, and probably decided one morning, I'm just going to go for a quick swim. That's like I normally do. Nothing different. But he didn't know that day, you know, the rip tides were extremely dangerous, more than the other days. And from what I researched, they said that there were no lifeguards that day. There was maybe an off-duty lifeguard that ended up trying to save him, that ended up in critical condition, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure if that was a lifeguard or not, if I'm not mistaken. But they said there were no lifeguards at the time. They usually have lifeguards, you know, patrolling Playa Grande, you know, but that day they just didn't have any. And I think that either tourists or maybe some off-duty lifeguards were there. They saw him in there and they went out to get him, but I think it was too late. They tried to resuscitate him while they were in the water. When they found him in the water, they swam out there and saw him, you know, I guess unconscious. They tried to administer CPR in the ocean. Then they pulled him to the beach, tried to do another CPR maneuver, and they said it just didn't work. So he was pronounced dead at the scene. So, you know, and I think what happened to him was the same thing that happened to me. He just got caught up in one of those riptides that took him out further, and he just didn't have the strength. It was already morning time, so he probably maybe he ate breakfast, maybe he didn't, you know, and that probably weakened him, you know, either or, you know, whether you have breakfast or whether you're not. Because if you have breakfast, your stomach is heavy, it makes you a little lazier, but if you didn't eat, you may not have the energy to swim back to the shore. So he probably went out to the current, went out to the beach, got in the water, swam out a little further than he was expecting to. Riptides came in, those rip currents came in, sucked him back out in the water. He probably didn't have the energy to get out of it, probably went under. The waves probably crashed and hit him, pushed him further down. He probably tried to come back up. He probably started panicking. And he's a bigger guy than me, a little heavier, so it probably was more resistance trying to get back to the top of the water than most people that are surfers that are either a little lighter. I'm like 160, 150, so I'm a little lighter. And so, and then having that board probably helped me get back to the top. But him, it seems like he probably got hit with a couple of waves, went under, didn't have the energy to get back to the top, tried to swim underwater. The waves probably hit the water. He probably got knocked down again. You know, probably got confused. Then the water is going up your nose and getting into your brain, and you start getting foggy. And that's when it's over, when you start panicking. And that's one thing they tell you not to do is panic. If you're in that situation, just relax, because your adrenaline is going to start rushing. You're going to start panicking. You're going to lose energy. And then when you're trying to swim to the beach, you're losing more power because you're going against the currents. So that's not going to be good for you. You got to relax and then swim adjacent to the beach or parallel to the beach as the waves go onto the shore. you're swimming parallel to it, so you're kind of floating, swimming sideways while the waves are slowly bringing you in, kind of diagonally, so to speak. And I think that's what probably happened to him, unfortunately, man. So I just want to say, you know, to all the people out there, please be careful when you get into these ocean areas where you think the water is not too deep, but it's kind of deep, and that's where they get you, especially in those catty corners where the rocks are and people are diving off into the ocean. Those are the worst, because a lot of times those waves will push you up against the rock and it can knock you out, and then you'll be dead, you know, unconscious while you're underwater, and you're definitely going to drown while you're under the water unconscious. So that's not a good thing. So make sure you start taking swimming lessons. And even with these floods going on in Texas and all these different areas now, you know, a lot of people don't know how to swim, you know, and I advise all parents to give your kids swimming lessons. Make sure they take, beginner, intermediate, and advanced level swimming lessons, just to give them a chance at surviving, whether it's a flood, whether you're in the ocean, whether you're in the swimming pool, etc. And I just wanted to let you guys know that, you know, I do have links to a lot of the devices that can help you and prevent you from drowning. They have these devices that look like watches, which are shark repellent, and you can wear these on your wrist, and they may help repel sharks if you get in a situation where you're kind of out deep, and they do have sharks in those areas. You know, at least you have a better chance at surviving shark attacks. They have life vests, of course, you know, inflatable life vests. Some of them are automatic. You can maybe pull a string or something and it'll, you know, inflate. They have, of course, you know, like floating devices you can put on your wrists, your ankles, your waist, etc. Those buoys, or buoy, however you say it, buoy that they have that you can wear, it'll tie to your leg. Like you have a string where to float, so wherever you swim, there are boats that can see you, you know, so they won't hit you while they're, sailing through. A lot of people die accidentally by getting hit by boats, you know, speed boats and all kind of stuff, jet skis, because they're out there swimming and nobody can see them. So if you have that buoy that's attached to your leg, you know, it's like a bright orange color, at least people will see you, so you'll be able to survive that, you know. So I have links to all those, of course, on Amazon. You can get those. These are my affiliate links. I'm not trying to capitalize off Malcolm's death. I just want people to be safe, and I made this video so that we can all learn a valuable lesson from this, you know. And I hope you guys take this seriously, because a lot of people are going to still do it and still try it and think they're invincible. You know, I thought I was invincible because I could swim really well, and realized that I wasn't, and that was a wake-up call for myself. And Malcolm's death is another wake-up call. I'm gonna start doing my swim lessons again, start going to the spa on a regular basis to get into those swimming pools and get my swimming back up, you know, get my swimming game back strong, because I plan on going overseas. I plan on going to Costa Rica myself, back to Brazil, Hawaii, Puerto Rico, you know, all these destinations, Australia. So I'll definitely be over there, and I'll be prepared, trust me. Always remember this, guys. If you are in a situation, you know, you don't have to be in that situation without being prepared. Always remember that, prepare ahead of time. Most deaths and accidents occur when people are, you know, they don't expect it, you know. I plan on preparing for every situation, whether I'm getting in my car, whether I'm going to a swimming pool, spa, whatever, man, going to the ocean. Always be prepared, and you can prepare yourself by bringing along such items that can help you survive. So please look up these. I got a bookmark in a folder where I keep all my items for survival, my survival kits, You know, whether it's an earthquake, you know, a flood, you know, swimming situation, I'm on a boat and it capsized situation. I have like everything prepared just in case. And this is not to say that you will survive every time. I'm not saying that, because some people say, well, I know somebody who's prepared, they still die. But at least you're prepared. At least you are aware of the situation before you get into it. So you'll know that if something happens, you have a better chance of surviving. It's just going out there, you know, on a whim, just trying to do something to have fun and not realize that something may happen to you. So just be alert and aware, man, and prepare yourself. Start getting online, YouTube, and these places, and learning, you know, how to survive different situations. But swimming lessons, I definitely recommend that to you guys. Please, if you have kids, get them in swim classes as soon as possible. Martial arts classes as well for self-defense. You know, like I did, I'm almost black belt. Taekwondo, I'm a stuntman in Hollywood and all that. So I've been training in swimming, martial arts, weapons, all that stuff since I was a kid. I've been obsessed with martial arts movies since I was a little child, watching Bruce Lee movies and all that stuff like that. And I was always say, hey, I'm gonna be prepared just in case I get into any situation. I just wanna be prepared to make sure I'm okay and I can get out safely. So I appreciate you guys. I know I'm long-winded, but I'm passionate about helping people, passionate about kids, and my goal is to make content and make films and make music that's going to change lives. And that's my purpose of making this video. If I can change one life, you know, then I've done my job. And that's what I want for my legacy to be when I leave this world. Like Malcolm, you know, not so much being famous and the fame of it all, but I just want to change lives and become known for that more so than being rich and famous, you know, because that's what being a human being is about, and that's changing lives and helping people. So all my projects that I'm doing now, my series that I'm working on and producing, my feature film that I got coming, which I'm producing independently as the lead actor in all those projects, my album, my music projects, all gonna be inspiring for young people, for young brothers like myself, change the mentality, change the world, help people. That's what I want to do, you know. And I appreciate you guys being a part of my journey. Please subscribe, like, comment, let me know your thoughts. You know, I know I'm long-winded, like I said, but I just love what I do, and I'm passionate about everything that I do. Thank you guys once again. Love you guys. My name is Tavarus, aka Sweet Pea the Entertainer, Weems. Look me up on social media. All my contact information is here on YouTube, as well as at the end of this video. Thanks again. Stay gold and have a good one. Peace. Rest in peace, Mal.